Hello, everybody. All right, so I'm going to talk about fridge smarts. I'm actually going to give you two different demonstrations on our fridge smarts, okay? So, one
Alrighty.
demonstration I'm going to give you is like a full demonstration. I feel like I'm crooked. Hold on. Let me fix that. Sorry, guys. I feel like I'm like a little crooked. There we go. A little bit better. All right. So I'm going to give you two demonstrations. All right. I'm going to give you like a demonstration, like a full demonstration that I would do at a party. And then I'm going to give you a short demonstration that I actually do on my TikTok lives because it's very, very different. Okay. All right. So this is our Fridge Smart line, and I've been in Tupperware 18 years, and these are my top sellers. They've been my top sellers actually for 18 years. So when I started in Tupperware 18 years ago, I started because we needed money, right? So I started because we needed money, and I actually couldn't afford the Tupperware. I could barely afford the kit. And so when I started asking Pam about like what products that I need to use to take to parties, all that kind of jazz, and then I started asking her more and more about like how do you use the products? And I'm asking her all these questions, and it was so funny. I was like, is there a manual that I can read up about the products? And she kind of literally, actually, she didn't kind of, she literally laughed at me, and she said, sweetheart, you don't read about Tupperware, you use Tupperware. And I said, well, I can't afford the Tupperware, so how do I use the Tupperware? Like, what do I do here? And she's like, take the Tupperware out of your starter kit and use that in your kitchen. And then when you go to do parties, just clean it up real nice and then take it, go do your demonstrations and do your parties, right? And tell them your experiences with it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I can do that. So then she told me about the microwavable line, right? And so she tells me all about that. And I was like, and so she tells me this demonstration, and I was like, well, that's really great, but I can't use that in my home because I don't own a microwave. And she was like, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, what do you mean you don't own a microwave? I said, well, our microwave broke and we can't afford a new one. So I don't have a microwave right now. And she's like, okay. So then she does this wonderful demonstration about our module mates. And I was just like thinking, oh my gosh, I've got a 2 to 3 year old. And you're telling me that not only do I have to go to the grocery store, shop for these little gremlins, and then come home and unpack my car, get the stuff in the house, and then I have to unpack it again into these things. I was like, no thanks. But I'd already shut her down on the vent and serve. So I was just like, I just smiled. And then she told me about these. And I was like, now those I can definitely use because of the 2 and 3 year old when they're like, we love blueberries, we love blueberries. And then I buy blueberries and then they'd be like, no, we don't like blueberries. And I'm like, seriously? And also, not only that, but they'd eat like five, right? Or they'd eat, 12 or something like that, right? They wouldn't eat a whole bunch. So I needed something that would make my fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer. So I like grabbed onto these and I was like, this is what I'm going to demonstrate at my parties. And so I made my parties all about how to save money on your food budget, how to stretch your food budget, how to do all those things. And my fridge march were my main focus, right? They were like the main event, right? And so naturally, these are my top sellers because I talk about them all the time. And for 18 years, these have continued to be my top seller because these save you, honestly, instantly, I would say the most money in your kitchen, right? And when I say instantly, because our modular may save you money, but it's a long-term thing. You don't see it right away, right? But these you see right away because your fruits and vegetables, they go bad so quickly that you can instantly see how much longer they're lasting, right? So your fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer in these, right? And so it just kind of slows down that aging process. And it does it in three different ways. So one of the ways it does it is it has this vent here right on the top, right? And so they did some research, and fruits and vegetables, they naturally emit gases, right? They breathe, right? So just like we do, right? So they breathe, they naturally emit these gases. And so they broke into three categories: medium, heavy, and light gassers, right? And so the light gassers are kind of like, like your celery and your like carrots, things like that, right? And so then your medium gassers are things like leafy green lettuces, things along those lines. Now your heavy gassers, they're the broccoli, all right? We all know this, right? You got to air that baby out, right? So, but you don't have to remember anything I'm saying because it's right here on the side of the container. All you have to do is go to the store, right? Find your fruit or vegetable on the side of here, find the little dot in the corner, line this line up to the dot on the top. I know you can't see it, but trust me, it's there. Line that line up to the dot on the top, and it's vented and they can breathe, right? And it's so fantastic. Now, you can mix and match. So as long as they're in the same venting family, you can put them in the same container. And that's what's so beautiful about it, right? So you don't have to segregate them. You can put them in the same container. So wonderful, right? So the other way that they make your fruits and vegetables last is these are hard, right? Okay, so listen, I know we all do the same thing, right? We get home, we're unloading the groceries, we're putting them into the drawer, and we have like a cucumber or zucchini or something like that. And we're like, I know I can fit that in the drawer. And what do? We like smush everything down and we like fit that right. Like, yes, I got it in that drawer. So it's not in the rest of the fridge. Well, we're causing trauma to our fruits and vegetables. And you know what happens when trauma happens? Bruises. Bruises happen when trauma happens, and that happens on our fruits and vegetables. So this protects them from us, mainly, honestly. It protects them from us because not only do we cause the trauma when we're pushing things down the drawer trying to feed just a little bit more in there, but we also cause trauma when we're like, I don't want the carrots today. I'm trying to find the cake left over from yesterday, right? And we're pushing things around in the fridge trying to get to what we really want that doesn't involve fruits and vegetables, right? So this is protecting your fruits and vegetables from us, okay? From us manhandling it, shoving it around in there, right? Just kind of not being very particularly nice, right? And so because you'll see your fruits and vegetables, they bruise just like an apple. You just don't see it right away, right? You just don't see it right away. And so that's the reason why sometimes your lettuces, they're kind of like, they start to age here and there kind of in spots. That's where they've been traumatized by us pushing them around and doing things like that, right? So this protects them to that. The last way that it does it is this down here at the bottom, right? So this is almost like a drainage ditch because your fruits and vegetables naturally omit water over time, right? So, and I always use the example as a pepper, right? Because so many times we're very visual, right? We'll be in the store and we're like, do I have a pepper for dinner tonight? Yeah, I remember seeing a pepper in the drawer, and you're like visualizing your drawer, like, yeah, there's a pepper in there, right? And so the pepper looks so beautiful on top, and then you pick it up out of the drawer and you're like, oh, what happened to that, right? Because it's all mushy on the bottom, right? That's what our feet would look like if we stood in water for a couple days, okay? So give your pepper a break and put it in here, and this will lift it up out of that water and give it a chance, okay? So that's what that does. It's like a drainage ditch. It just kind of takes that water down there and lets it do that. Now, the other thing that's kind of cool that happens is, I don't know if your grocery store does this. Ours does this little like rain shower down on the fruits and vegetables. And it actually, one of our grocery stores will play raindrops falling on your head and then it rains down. Grocery stores are so silly. I think they must be bored. But, anyways, so it kind of does the same thing in here. All that condensation goes up onto the top, right? And then it builds up and then it just kind of rains down. So it's literally the perfect environment for your fruits and vegetables to thrive, right? So naturally, they're going to last longer here in our fridge smarts, right? So this is the 4-piece set. And I always recommend people, if you don't know what sizes you want, go for the 4-piece set, because when you get this, you're going to quickly be like, I need more of this size, or I need one more of this size, or whatever. You're going to realize like what you need more or less of, right? And you're like, I'm good with this size. I don't need any more of that, but I do need another one of that size, right? So it's great to get the 4-piece set. And right now they're BOGO, right? So that makes it even better, right? So whether you want to keep all pieces for yourself, or you want to do a girlfriend set, right? Buy one, give one away, or go have these with somebody, whatever, doesn't matter. But yeah, these are fantastic. And I'm telling you, they will impact your food budget like no other, because the average family throws away 40% of the food they bring into their house. Hello, that's like leaving the grocery store, and say you just bought like $100 worth of fruits and vegetables, and then you're leaving the grocery store and you stop at the garbage can on your way out and you take out $40 worth of fruits and vegetables and throw it into the garbage. You would never do that. You would be like, get your hands off my fruits and vegetables. What are you thinking? But that's what you do when it's garbage day. It's the night before garbage day, and what do? Some of us will actually pull the garbage can up to the refrigerator to make it easier, right? And then we're just like emptying things out, right? You will not do that with our fridge smarts. I'm telling you right now. So these are an investment, I will tell you, but once you invest in them once, they will save you over and over and over again. All right. So these are fantastic. You are absolutely going to love the amount of money that they are going to save you, but they only work if you use them, right? So you want to make sure you're using these in your house. All right. So that is a big demo of these, but I will show you guys what I actually do on TikTok, because TikTok is very fast paced. All right. So when somebody asks about the fridge smarts, I'm like, these are my fridge smarts. I've been in Tupperware 18 years, and these are my top sellers. They make your fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer. And let me just show you all that you need to know. There are lots of things that make your fruits and vegetables last longer, but all you need to know, you go to the store, you buy your fruits and vegetables, you find them on the front of here, you find the dot in the corner, you line this up to the dot on the top, and that's it. So all you have to do to make your fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer is buy them, take them out of the wrapper they came in, put them in here, find them on the front, vent the top, boom. They're going to last longer. How about that, right? That's literally all I say, guys. I don't go into this huge demo. I do that at parties, and I do things like that when I have more time, or if somebody asks more questions on my TikTok live. But when somebody just asks me, like, can you tell me about the fridge march? That's all I tell them. Because that's all they need to know. That's the bottom line, right? I'm like, you don't have to process your food. You don't have to wash it. It's actually better if you don't. If you don't clean it, if you don't cut it, if you just take it out of the wrapper, put it in here, vent it just like it is on this chart right there, boom. That's all I say, right? Yeah, Mama, sure. Sometimes I will be. And sometimes I do like to give people tips. I know, right? So sometimes I do like to give people tips about how to make their fruits and vegetables last longer with or without our fridge smart, so that way people leave with value, even if so that way they're not like, I can't afford those, and now my fruits and vegetables suck, and I suck, and everything is awful, right? Because I don't like people to feel that way. So I do sometimes give them tips like that. Like, you want to make sure that they're naked, dry, and dirty, right? And things like that. And so I do say things like that. So, and just so you guys know, so some tips to make your fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer with or without these is, you want them naked, dry, and dirty, right? So you want them naked, take them out of the wrapper that they came from the store in. You want them dry. You want them as dry as they possibly can. That doesn't mean you have to air dry them or pat them dry or make them ridiculously dry. Just dry them as much as you can, all right? And you want them dirty. You want them with kind of with the enzymes that they kind of came from the earth in, right? So just leave them that way, right? Don't, wash them until you're ready to use them. That will make them last the longest. The other thing that will make them last the longest is don't process them until you're about to use them. If they have a stem, leave the stem intact until you're about to use them. Another way that will make them last longer is they have a stem, store it stem side down. Don't know what the science is behind that, but it actually does work. All right. So, and I also tell people, I'm like, so another thing is, sometimes with my herbs, if I run out of space, like I ran out of my fridge smarts, I don't have anymore, something that you can do with your herbs is treat them like a bouquet. Okay. So they do last longer 100% in these, but if you run out of space, maybe you don't have any more fridge smarts, but you have some herbs, treat them like a bouquet. So rip off the ends, put them in a little cup of water, like a little rocks cup or a little like a juice glass, and put some water in there, and then put it in there like a bouquet. And you can either leave it on your countertop or put it into your fridge, and then just take off what you need as you need it, and they will last 3 to 4 times longer just even doing that. Actually, not quite as long as here, but they will last longer. So those are some of the tips that I tell people after I do my demonstration, just so that they leave kind of feeling like they got some value. And I'm like, but if you do all of those things with these, they'll last even longer, right? All right, so those are your fruit smarts.